Hello everyone, Garnetta here, and today I am bringing you another Easter eggs video. I did one of these a little while ago for Astero Academy Part 1 and it proved to be really popular, so I plan on carrying on. I thought I'd do it a bit more of a logical approach though, so we are starting from Bad Beginning Part 1 now, and we will then continue through the series. Please feel free to leave a like if you enjoy, please subscribe if you want to see more of these videos, and also if you think I missed an interesting fact or Easter egg, please leave it in the comments down below. In the meantime, enjoy the show. Literally seconds into the first episode, we get our first Easter egg. Beatrice. Beatrice has the dedication at the beginning of every story, and she does have a larger part to play. However, Beatrice was named after Beatrice Portinari, who appeared in Dante Alighieri's Divine Comedy and La Vita Nuova. More relevantly though, she was Dante's lover and considered to be one of his main inspirations. This parallels Lemony Snicket's role with Beatrice, as Beatrice was a lost love of Lemony Snicket. You may note that the trolley that Baudelaire children are riding on is the number 9. This is probably a reference to the historical Ellicott City to Baltimore trolley line Trail 9. This trail was made famous because where most of the lines at that time were being changed over to steam train, the owners of that line decided to keep it as a trolley line until it stopped being used for those purposes altogether.
Briny Beach, please.
Briny Beach is a reference to the Lewis Carroll poem The Walrus and the Carpenter, where Briny Beach is mentioned. Book fans would of course already know this, and it is likely to be important later on in the series.
Are you ready? Let's get to work. Do you think this will be as good as the mailbox?
I think this will be even better than the mailbox.
This reference to the mailbox may seem a little bit odd, seeing as how it's not part of the books or the series, but it is a part of the films. Towards the end of the film we get to see a unique mailbox, which was clearly made by Violet. The names of the main characters are quite interesting. First of all, let's look at Baudelaire. This is after Charles Baudelaire, who is a French poet. He also is very heavily linked with Edgar Allan Poe as the pioneer translator for him. On top of this, Daniel Handler specifically chose names to make the series hard to figure out where it was set. For example, Violet was chosen because that is supposed to be a very British name. Klaus, on the other hand, was chosen because that's a very German name. Meanwhile, Sunny is apparently a lot more common in America. Finally, we can throw the Scandinavian roots of Olaf's name in the mix, and all of a sudden it becomes impossible to use the names to figure out where the series is set.
Violet, I'm not sure I understand this passage of Proust.
Could you read it to me?
Happiness is beneficial for the body, but it is grief that develops the powers of the mind.
Violet and Klaus struggle with the quote about grief shaping the mind, and of course they do because they are still naive at this point. However, that is a fantastic foreshadowing of the series, in which the children will all grow into self-sufficient adults because of grief and misfortune. If you look closely, you'll spot that Violet's top has loads of whales on it. This is probably a reference to Moby Dick, which there is a lot of references during the series, likely due to Olaf's constant pursuing of the orphans regardless of the personal cost, being comparable to Captain Ahab's plight.
It's Mr. Poe.
From the bank?
Mr. Poe is of course a reference to Edgar Allan Poe, a author, and this is also very clearly referenced in his son's name.
Good night, Edgar.
Good night, Albert.
Edgar and Albert. Is that a mistake? I mean, it's close to Alan.
Good night, Albert.
Good night, Edgar. And good night, guests.
Of course it's not a mistake, it's a second reference. As well as being close to Poe's name, it is also a reference to Edgar Albert Guest, another poet. In the book this was a bit of a stretch, but in the series they make it very clear because of how Mrs. Poe refers to the Baudelaires.
And good night, guests.
Guests, just seconds after saying Edgar and Albert. If you look closely on the right, you'll see a sign for the Horseradish Factory. This is a reference to both Reptile Room and more later on in the series.
All my associates and I have managed to learn is that neither the official fire department nor the volunteer fire department arrived in time to stop the blaze.
Talk about hidden in plain sight. Lemony just casually mentions the volunteer fire department.
It's a raven.
It's a crow.
It's a raven.
It's a crow.
It's chicken.
Edgar and Albert are arguing over ravens and crows, which are a reference to a lot of literature, as both of them are used in literature a lot. However, what it's probably mostly supposed to be referencing is Edgar Allan Poe's The Raven and the crows used later on in the series. The Daily Puntilio has quite a few Easter eggs in it. First of all, the motto is all the news in fits of print, which is a play on the New York Times' motto, which is all the news that's fit to print. Also notice that the Baudelaire article is written by Geraldine Julien. She was a reporter in the books and a recurring character who was covering the story of the Baudelaires. However, in the series she has been overwritten, with all of her parts that are relevant getting given to Mrs. Poe instead. Finally, the article on the Baudelaires is actually written in Latin. Other than just being the VFD logo, the eyes everywhere are supposed to symbolise the various all-seeing eyes in various literatures, such as the Great Gatsby eyes and the Eye of Sauron.
I'm from Mortuary Money Management.
Mortuary means imposing a fine, not a very comforting name for a bank.
Yes, the best.
Though the management regrets to inform you that the shampoo is not tear-free. If anything, it encourages tears.
This line about tear-free is obviously a reference to Johnson's baby shampoo, which advertises no more tears.
There's a village in the Pacific Islands, suspended on ropes above an active volcano.
It seems as if the village Klaus mentioned is fictional, however, please tell me if I'm wrong in the comments, but there is a village called Aogashima, which is in a Japanese island, where the town is actually inside the crater of an active volcano. They also use the active volcano as a power source.
It's mostly law books, but there's sections on everything from Italian cuisine to the world's most threatening fungus.
Justice Strauss mentions Italian cuisine, which will obviously get an immediate payoff in the form of pasta puttanesca. However, she also references something which will come up in Series 3, the world's most dangerous fungus. That will be a reference to Medusoid mycelium, which will be referenced in Series 3 as it is a very major part in the books.
I think I found something. Pasta puttanesca.
I wonder what that means in Italian.
Pasta alla puttanesca literally translates into pasta in the style of a whore. The reason it's called this is because adult female entertainers would often serve this particular dish to their clientele. If you look in the background to the right of the trolley, you will be able to make out a Ferris wheel. This is clearly the festive fun part mentioned earlier on in the episode.
Aren't you going to the festive fun fair with all the jolly rides and games and snacks? Festive means fun.
An associate of mine named Brillet Savarin famously said to invite people to dine with us is to make ourselves responsible for their well-being as long as they are under our roofs.
That quote is by Jean-Antoine Brillat-Savarin, an 18th century French lawyer who had gained fame for his study between the relationship between food and culture.
There is no I in acting. No selfish urges. No arrogance. No ego. No vanity. No dangerous overabundance of inflated self-regard. There is only what the French call a certain escargot.
I highly doubt escargot is what he meant, as escargot is a type of snail, which French people tend to eat. He may have meant le creep, which is a French word for teen. During this scene there are a lot of names and a lot of references, so I'm going to run through them quite quickly as to what they are and whether you should know them or not. So, there are a lot of characters that have appeared in the Netflix series 1 and 2 so far. This includes Quagmire, Snicket, Remora, who was a prefect prep teacher, Spats, as in Carmelita Spats, Anne Whistle, Orwell, as in Georgina Orwell, 667, which is in 667 Dark Avenue, Montgomery, as in Dr. Montgomery, Strauss, as in Justice Strauss, Hal from Hostile Hospital, and Baudelaire. Those ones should all be known to people who have seen Series 1 and 2 of the Netflix series. There are a couple of names that will probably appear in Series 3, these ones being Fernald and Widdershins. Then there are two more names that are shown which will only be for book readers. They may have been intended to be in the series but they didn't make it in. These being Julienne, who I mentioned earlier as the reporter, and Cathedral of the Alleged Virgin.
All good, true, and decent people know that it's time.
Subscribe. Wow, that was an awful Patrick Warburton impression. I'm not doing that again. Anyway, that is all we have today. Thank you for watching through to the end. If you have any facts that you think I've missed from Bad Beginning Episode 1, please feel free to leave a comment down below. If you want to see more of these as I bring them out, which I am planning on bringing them out I'm thinking every week, then please subscribe, leave a like if you like it, let me know what you think, and let me know any feedback. Thank you all for watching so much, and I will see you next time.